weekend. Friday night, they lost to the Thunder in Oklahoma City, and then last night back here at home, a sizable win over the Clippers, who are a much better team this season than they usually are. 122-99 was the final yesterday. You didn't go to that, did you?
No.
Cavs game last night? No. I know we're all going tomorrow night. Well, all in air quotes. Poundcake's not going. The annual iHeart staff Cavs game is tomorrow night. The Cavs will be playing the Miami Heat. 7 o'clock tip right here on WMMS. A pregame, 6:30 starts Cavaliers Live right here. That's when we tip the F out the door and walk over to the Romo Fijo for some fellowship, some bonhomie, and a few drinks. In Poundcake's honor, I should say. Not the kind of in his honor for the people who thought that Bill was announcing his own death. Nevertheless.
I'm getting so many comments like, I thought you died.
But what is the death format you're referring to? Where is this?
This is just on my Instagram and my Facebook.
Okay.
So here's the picture. If you're looking on the live stream.
Yeah, but okay.
I mean, if you take 1 second to read it, you can see, but like it just looks like the kind of photo they would post when you die. Like
the back windshield of your car would have some airbrushing on it, that kind of thing?
I don't know.
Comedy Revival, hosted by Bill Squire for free. Okay. This looked like a memorial post, and I totally thought you had died until I actually... Yeah, but what do you mean until I actually read it? I mean, there's 4 lines. You can determine in 1 second.
There's a lot of people that just see certain things, and it just triggers a response.
All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to like that post.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
That's this Wednesday. It's a free show, 8 p.m.
How was the Alex Theater?
I love
named
that
for
place.
famed actor Alex Baldwin.
Yes.
Over here on the east side of Cleveland.
It was a great show. Sold it out. That was a nice, it's always nice when you sell out.
How big of a
show.
theater is that?
It's about 100 seats.
Okay.
So it's not like it's like a little black box theater, but we, packed it out.
Sure.
And it was a great time. I mean, it was a good audience. Talked to the audience a lot. I just recorded a special in November, so I got a pretty good chunk of material. I got a good 40 minutes that I'm working on, but I ended up doing about 50 because I talked to the audience for about 10 too.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing crowd work and stuff like that. And it's always a good feeling when listeners show up and have a good time, and you feel that support and that love. I wish I had this thing crazy happened or this, but it was just a fun show. I mean, that's all it really was. And the Alex Theater is gorgeous.
Even if listeners show up and don't have a good time, it's just you just showed up, right? What do they say? 90% of success is showing up.
Mm-hmm.
You were successful in having a night out. There's nothing wrong with that.
And so Sebek over there, who runs the show at the Alex Theater, he was awesome. We're sitting out in they got a little green room. That's where the Allens, who have we talked about, the magicians, they do their magic shows over there and stuff like that. So, and I've done shows.
Couple of liars, according to Mary.
Yeah, right. But it was just a fun show, and audience had fun. It is one of those shows where there's only one show, and we're not in a rush, and there's an intermission.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always kind of a little different than most comedy shows, but in that format, it's so everybody can get up and get a drink, and you get those bar sales up.
Gotcha.
Because that's all comedy is for most venues, is just
selling food and drinks.
Yeah, selling food and
drinks.
drinks.
Yep, food and bev.
And we did.
And
they were. I will say this about our audience compared to the audiences that they usually bring in. They go, our bar sales were real good.
We have a drinking audience.
Yeah,
audience likes to drink.
Bar sales were way higher than when we have magicians or burlesque.
Yeah, that's why I miss doing the Alan Cox Show bar crawls in the summertime. Hopefully those will return this year because...
Bars love it.
Yes, because we bring a lot of drinkers. Mm-hmm. A lot of teetotalers in this crowd.
I mean,
there's anything wrong with that. We got somebody on the show, but that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
People would come out, have a soda water. I call it sody water because, that's how I like to do it. You know another crowd that had a great time this weekend? Cincinnati Bengals fans.
Oh, but
they had a fantastic time this weekend after a penalty cost them the AFC championship. And nobody could be more beside himself than the guy responsible for that penalty, Joseph Asai, named after the famed Barry. I guess he tackled Pete Holmes. What's the Kansas City Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
I knew there was a Holmes in there.
If he tackled comedian Pete Holmes, that would also be unnecessary roughness because he's not a football player. I guess he was already out of bounds, and this Osai guy didn't realize it or something and lays him out, and they knocked him back. They had a 15-yard penalty or something, and the Chiefs...
They gave him,
him field goal position? Is that what it was?
Exactly. So it was one of those things where there wasn't a lot of time left. But so if he had just gone out of bounds there, they would have been in a really tough position to try and get enough yardage to try and kick a field goal. But because of that penalty, it put them in, like a 40-yard field goal, which isn't automatic, but it's not the hardest thing to do to kick a 40-yard field goal. And it might be even shorter than that. But that penalty was everything. And
that is a heartbreaker, boy.
Dumb moments where you let your emotions get the best of you. You just got to know that, like, the quarterbacks you got to treat them like a carton of eggs in this NFL today, where you can't, first of all, they're expensive, overpriced, and you have to basically not touch them or you'll get in trouble.
Well, there were a lot of emotions, obviously. Jermaine Pratt, who's the linebacker for the Bengals, was screaming at this dude on the walk back. Why would you touch the quarterback on the... Well, then when he was talking to the media later on, he basically had one of his other teammates right next to him kind of acting as interference for the questions that the reporters were asking. He'd keep going, ask another question. Anytime they would ask him, like, how do you feel? Are you worried? The blah, blah, blah. And the guy was, like, basically in tears and trying to put a good face on it, I guess. But you could, listen, there's a lot of plays over the course of a football game. But something like that, you're going to feel the weight of the world on you.
It's a pretty defining play.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that got him to that point, but that one is definitely just kind of a knucklehead
to lose
move.
because of that.
Yeah.
Listen, I put money on the Bengals. I lost money on this game.
$1,000, $2,000?
About $17,000.
That's a lot.
Wow. But other than that,
no brunch for Gwen.
I gotta be better, but they've been very supportive.
How hard is that to kind of not put all that weight on you as you go through this? I mean, it's just...
It's extremely hard, man.
Come on, man.
I'm sure it's tough. I just want to ask him about it.
That's a really question, bro. Come on.
They need to get these other players away from the sports reporters trying to ask questions. Get out of here. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this guy. Let me do my thing, all right? I don't need him standing there with a press secretary.
I still don't even need them to interview the players.
I don't either. But this other dude standing there like, next question. Like, just let the guy talk.
It's just, there's rarely a moment where you get anything of worth. Of course he feels terrible. Everybody knows he feels terrible. What is him saying it to someone go... Like, that's not a moment
we want to know that he's sorry.
Yeah, right?
Well, not even sorry. Sometimes you just want to hear what's in the guy's head at that time.
We want to know that you're suffering.
I mean, the game's over. It's not going to change. Not even that. It's not going to change the game. I mean, so, so that was a big, huge blow to Bengals fans.
How did that feel, messing that up right now?
Bro, ask another question, all right? What kind of question is that? You know how I feel. I just got to do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Who day? Day losers. That's how I feel. So anyway, it's Eagles, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They're making a point saying that it's the first time in Super Bowl history the two black quarterbacks will face each other.
Yeah, I kept saying that. I kept seeing that they said the first time in history that two brothers are playing against each other.
No. Two, not fraternal brothers, two black quarterbacks.
I keep seeing that, though.
Yes. I don't think that's what they mean by brothers. I think they mean
there's
Jalen somebody and Patrick Mahomes.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. He sure does. And Patrick Mahomes are going to face each other.
And then the Kelsey brothers from Cleveland Heights.
There you go.
They were the brothers.
I thought they were from Westlake.
I thought they were
Kelsey brother. You could be right.
I think they're from Cleveland Heights. I think Westlake is the Paul brothers.
Paul brothers.
And they had a bit of
well, you know, more than one set of brothers can be from Westlake, Ohio.
Not according to me.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. First time in Super Bowl history. Also, we will get Terry the Goat's Super Bowl picks. And I've been waiting for this. I did not want to presume on our professional relationship with Terry the Goat, who picks the games for us all season long. She's out there at Marcinek Farms in Carlton, Pennsylvania. Al Marcinek is our bureau chief. I waited to see if he would email me. I didn't want to presume. You know, after a long, hard season, she might just want to rest. But he did email me and asked if I would like Terry the Goat Super Bowl pick. And I said, absolutely, I would. Yes, so I'm going to wait until I get her pick to make mine on FanDuel. I'll get on there after I get her. Are you going to
bet with her?
I'm going to bet with Terry the Goat on FanDuel, yes.
Impressive.
Because my style is, if you can even call it that, my style of betting is kind of, I like to make medium-sized bets on wacko props, right? That's what I like to do. Like, put some money on, here's what the exact score of the game is going to be. That's what I did for the 49ers game. Here's what the exact score is.
Did you win?
I did not win. Does that sound like a bet I'm going to win?
That's such a bummer of a game,
but
too.
it's a fun way to bet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to bet this. It was like 31-7 or something. Well, I didn't bet that, but
Brock Purdy got hurt on the first series, and then Josh Johnson came in, and he got a concussion, so they had to take him out of the game, I think. And so then they had to have Christian McCaffrey be their quarterback for the rest of the game. Yeah. So you got your third string guy who's been playing really well. You're like, okay, we might have a chance against this really good Eagles defense. He's out of the game almost immediately. And then you got a 10-year journeyman out there trying his best against the number 2 defense in the league. And he's just getting eaten up. And then the last quarter and a half, you have a running back playing quarterback. So it was just, there was no chance for them.
We all got updates from Bill in South Jersey. He was sending us on the spot Philly fans' reactions from that the Philly PD were overmatched and ill prepared. I don't know how they could be because, again, on the one hand, I don't know how you prepare because it's always crazy in Philly when they win. But how are you underprepared? I mean, you've greased all the poles. But if you saw any of the viral footage of the Philly mobs going crazy in Philadelphia, completely out of control, my favorite video that I saw was all the people dancing on the bus shelter. And those in Philadelphia, not everywhere, but in Philly, have a glass ceiling.
Ooh.
And they were all dancing on top. And obviously, it collapsed under all their weight. And so multiple Eagles fans suffered injuries as maybe 12 of them fell through and shattered the glass on a bus stop, a bus station, a shelter there, as people were going bananas.
Okay, so I got a little clarification real quick on the Kelsey brothers. Travis Kelsey was born in Westlake, but he and his brother Jason grew up in Cleveland Heights.
Gotcha.
So there you go.
People were standing on the awning of the entrance to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Philadelphia. That's how they do.
I feel like this is I mean, I love it because Philly fans are nuts, but I feel like you got to wait till you win the Super Bowl to go start climbing stuff. You can get in the streets and get excited about going to the Super Bowl, but I think you should save the climbing till you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you're never going to, in any city, you're never going to get fans to wait to celebrate, to do something. You're going to celebrate every point on the curve, especially in Philly. I mean, here, if something happened here.
Oh, I mean, if the Browns got to the Super Bowl, it would be
Cleveland's a bad example because
there'd be people.
It would be nuts here,
collapsing that Holiday Inn Express.
Philly has not had those massive droughts. Well, and that's another glass top, I think, over there. I don't know how they'd get up there. Nevertheless, hey,
they always find a way.
They do. That's why if the Browns get to the Super Bowl, Bill and I will personally, and I hope they're listening over there, Bill and I will personally go over there and grease that awning.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to tell you how we'll do it. I just got the go-ahead this morning. But we are going to grease that awning. It's going to be a thing of beauty. Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What up?
Hey, I was just calling. I know we were sitting there beating a dead horse in regards to the end of the Bengals game, but I wanted to sit there and touch base and see how you guys felt about the play that got negated in that 3rd down and 9 with about 4 minutes left in the game, and they completely came out and said, hey, guys, we screwed up, and then reran the play that Patrick Mahomes got sacked but ended up getting the pass interference call for the 1st down.
Yeah, I didn't. I heard about it briefly. I didn't go nearly that deep with it.
I saw that, and it's one of those things where if the game doesn't go, I mean, if the game went in favor of Kansas City or in favor of the Bengals, no one would be talking about it. But because it went the other way, people are talking about it. But those things happen in games. But it was like very irresponsible, somewhat sketchy refereeing where you're like, okay, this is such a huge point, especially with that little time left. I can see why Bengals fans are like, that was hinky. That was a weird thing to happen where they didn't run the clock, because that's what it was. Like, they didn't start the clock at the right time or something.
Yeah, they were saying something along the lines of they didn't start the clock at the correct time, and then they ended up letting the whole play through. And then after the play played through without any notable whistles, any stoppage,
right?
They ended up sitting there and letting the whole play finish and then called it after the fact.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really odd. I've never seen anything like that. I've been watching football, for mostly my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was odd, especially in an AFC championship game where you're running into those kind of problems where they're just like, hey, sorry. And even the ref said, hey, we screwed up. They come out and said on the low, you can hear it on the mic. They're like, yeah, hey, we had a mistake. We're going to end up sitting there rerunning this. It was just the weirdest thing, especially for an AFC, championship game to happen. I thought that was really interesting.
Right, especially because they could have just put time back on the clock. They didn't have to rerun the play because the play was the play, and that's how it went. And they were also, I mean, I'm not trying to be like the refs or this or that, but they seem to swallow their whistles a little bit when the Chiefs were on defense versus the Bengals.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it just, and that's kind of the advantage you get when you are the home team, but it's still just, it looked like a very poorly refereed game all across the board. So it sucks when that becomes the talking point of what should be a great football game. We want to talk about big plays, and even with that play at the end of the game, we didn't see Patrick Mahomes make an awesome play to get his team into field goal position. It was just some ticky-tack roughing the passer or like unnecessary roughness call that sets up this field goal. And it's like, man, like, let him play a little bit. Like, let it come down to actual athletic plays and not just trying to fix the game because sports betting's legal everywhere now.
Yeah, right. People are telling me that Brock Purdy played injured. Christian McCaffrey didn't take any snaps.
Oh, he didn't take any snaps. Okay. I was out running around by that time because that game wasn't very interested. But, yeah, Brock Purdy couldn't really do much. So,
yeah. Some people telling me that I didn't mention that Blackhawks great Bobby Hull died. Of course, that's my home hockey team. The reason I didn't mention Bobby Hull dying is the guy was a real piece of shrimp in real life. And not that hockey wasn't his real life, but he was lionized as a Chicago Blackhawk. That's the hockey team I grew up with. But he was a real piece of work in life. So I kind of skipped Bobby Hull. I shouldn't have, because he did die, and he's a huge figure in sports. And he was a huge figure for that fan base. But, and frankly, I won't lie to you. I mean, one of the greatest players of all time, by the way, right? He had that blonde hair. And he just shot the puck. I mean, you couldn't even see the puck when he shot it. But, I thought Bobby Hull had died a while ago. So that's also part of it. But I've got to take a break. I will have Monsters tickets for you. Let's talk hockey here in Cleveland. Your Cleveland Monsters are playing the Rochester Americans on Valentine's Day. That's Tuesday the 14th at the Romo Fijo. It's going to be Blue Jackets night. A little nod to the NHL. So I'll get you 4-pack of tickets. You want to get to a hockey game, Cleveland Monsters, in a couple of weeks. And then another shot for you to grab some money, $1,000. Listen for that keyword coming up at 3:30 to go fund yourself.
It's the Alan Cox